Hey, in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you what I wish I knew 10 years ago. So I've spent plenty of time on habit trackers, different types of habits, you know, things from the Atomic Habits book, things from Charles Duhigg's book, Power of Habit. I've tried all sorts of different things to see what actually drives the needle. And the truth is, most habits do not do anything beneficial. So after all of this trying and figuring out what works, I'm going to bring to you basically kind of the key habits, three key habits that have been really helpful in my life. And again, these are things that prevent failure, they create momentum, and once they're in place, progress feels automatic. So the first habit is what I call basically the default wins. And it's the biggest lesson I've gotten from this last year, and it's that discipline is overrated. So what actually drives behavior is your default environment. If the default option in your life is bad, you're going to have bad decisions. If the default option is good, better decisions. Simple, but how many people use it, right? It's the same thing as you see as, the people are sort of walking around being like, I want to get into health and fitness. The gym is there, but how often do people use it? And look at the people around you, right? So another example would be investing. Investing, a lot of people say, hey, automate your investments. Don't rely on willpower. Don't try to, squeeze every penny and try to save it at the end of the month. Just invest automatically on your paycheck and boom, it's automatic, it's done for you. And that's what I mean by the default environment. So again, if junk food's in the house, you're going to eat it. If there's healthy food options there, you're going to eat it. Another quick example would be I used to stack books in front of my television so that if I wanted to watch television or TV, I had to move the books. And every time I moved the books, I would pick up a title and be like, you know what? I've been meaning to read this book for years. Let's just dig into it. So that's what I mean by the default wins. So set up your environment in a way that's going to make the default decision the right one. Now, the next one is what I call anti failure habits. So, most people think habits are adding things to your life. Wake up earlier, do more, have a bigger checklist, or what have you, right? And what I found over the last year is the habits that actually move the needle are the ones that remove things from my life. They remove friction, they remove obstacles. And for example, it could be something as simple as putting my phone on airplane mode or on do not disturb. It could be no social media until a certain point in the day. I like the idea of just no impulse spending, right? Having rules around that. So these small guardrails prevent the behaviors that quietly derail progress. And that's what's interesting is that when you remove the friction, the progress manifests in terms of just you're making big wins, and it's not about doing more effort; it's about removing that friction. So the real insight here is that, yeah, success often comes less from what you add and more from what you eliminate. Now, the third habit I want to talk about is what I call momentum triggers. Now, some habits don't just help you, they trigger a chain reaction. These are the keystone habits that Charles Duhigg talks about in Power of Habit. And for me, the biggest one is exercise. If I work out in the morning, everything else improves. I eat better, I think more clearly, I'm more productive, I make better decisions. So find what are the keystone habits, what are these habits in your life, these momentum triggers that you find put you maybe more into a creative state, maybe you feel more assertive, more confident, what have you. What are those triggers? And design your environment so that you can hit those triggers as often as possible. And the goal for me was to identify one or two habits that really had that trigger effect because those habits create momentum and momentum makes progress easier. So after a year of experimenting with all these habits, it's been 10 years, but the last year I've really dug into it again. The biggest lesson was something deeper. Habits that stick aren't really habits at all. They were systems that created what I call gravity, and your life already has gravity. Certain people have gravity, you kind of get pulled into it, but there's certain forces that pull you in certain directions. And if your environment pulls you towards distractions, junk foods, and impulse spending, that's the direction your life will go. But if your environment pulls you towards investing and learning and exercise and creativity, those behaviors become natural. So the real goal isn't to try harder. The real goal is to design gravity in your life because successful people don't necessarily have more discipline. They don't have more hours in the day. They've simply built lives where the right behaviors happen automatically. And once you do that, progress compounds. Leave a comment if you got something on the video, and it's videos like this where I, I love to tweak the environment, try to make it more engaging. I have a lot of fun out of this, but the real thing is, if you know someone that's going to benefit from this video, send it to them, share it with them. It's referrals like that that are going to help this channel grow. And leave a comment again if there's a habit that you're engaging in. And one bonus tip I would say at the end of the day, one practical habit that I've engaged in this last year that's been really meaningful for my life has been what I call the plan tomorrow today activity. It's basically where at the end of the day, I plan out what am I going to do the next day, but I also set up a time for those activities. And then basically when I wake up, I can just go straight into it without thinking. I don't have to make the decisions in the morning. That's one bonus habit. But yeah, leave a like if you got something out of the video, and let me know what you think. New setup, new studio. Hopefully it looks a little nicer. And until next time, peace.